Hello and welcome to this short video about verbs. We already know some things about verbs, so let's do a quick revision of what we do know. Verbs are action words. They are action words or doing words. Every sentence needs to have a verb, and the verb in each sentence tells us what is happening in each sentence. The action can include activities like jumping, running, playing, but it also includes things you might not think are very action-based. Things like thinking, waiting, or sleeping. Even though they're not very active, these are still action words. They're still verbs. Verbs also give us hints about when something is happening or when something is not happening. Hints like if I say, the boy jumped over the wall, then you can be fairly sure that this has already happened. The boy has already jumped over the wall at some time in the past. If I say that the girl will win, then we can be reasonably sure that this has not happened yet and we are waiting for the girl to win in the future tense. Things happen in the present tense, the past tense, or the future tense. So verbs also have to happen in the present tense, the past tense, or the future tense. Now, this next bit is very important. Listen really carefully to this bit. Verbs in English and Irish behave very differently. In English, a verb can appear in different places in a sentence. Maybe at the start of the sentence, or in the middle of the sentence, and sometimes even at the end of a sentence. For example, I usually wake up early in the morning. I wake up in the morning early, usually. Early in the morning, usually, I wake. You can see from this that the verb, which is marked in yellow, wake, in the first example is the third word in the sentence. In the second example, it's the second word in the sentence. And in the last example, wake is the last word in the sentence. So the verb has taken three very different positions in these three different sentences. In Irish, the verb comes at the start of a sentence. Very often it is the first or the second word in the sentence. For example, Bhí mé fuair inné. I was cold yesterday. Literally, if we were to translate this word for word, bhí means was, mé, I, fuair, cold, inné, yesterday. Inné, bhí mé fuair. Literally, yesterday was I cold. So you can see that the verb in these two Irish sentences is in the first or the second place in the sentence. And that's always where you'll find an Irish verb, towards the very start of a sentence. Regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs are verbs that follow the normal grammatical rules. Basically, they do exactly what we expect them to do when we expect them to do it. They're very well behaved verbs. Remember we spoke about the present tense and the past tense and the future tense. Let's take a look at how regular verbs behave in the present and the past tense in English. Today I dance. Yesterday I danced. Today I walk. Yesterday I walked. This year I play. Last year I played. How did the verb change from the present to the past tense in these examples? Yes, we just added ed onto the end of the root of the verb. Usually we just add ed to the root of any verb to turn it into the past tense. Let's take a look at irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are verbs that do not follow the normal grammatical rules. They don't do what we expect them to do, and they don't do it when we expect them to do it. You can never really guess what an irregular verb is going to do. So let's take a look at some irregular verbs and how they behave when we change from the present to the past. Today I sing. Yesterday I sang. Today I run. Yesterday I ran. This year I seek. Last year I sought. Now, how did these verbs change from the present tense, today, to the past tense, yesterday? There doesn't seem to be any pattern to how these verbs changed. That's what makes them irregular verbs. In Irish, there are only 11 irregular verbs to worry about. Be, to be, easy to remember that one. Aber, to say. Clush, to hear. Bear, to catch. Dain, to do or make. Tay, to go. Feig, to get. Feck, to see. That's one of my favourites. I, to eat. Tur, to give. Tar, to come. That's it. That's all there is. Only 11 irregular verbs to learn. Remember this little story that we wrote together in school? Every day. Every day I make my breakfast. I get my bag, I come to school. I see my friends in the hall. I catch a ball on the yard. I am hungry. I eat my lunch. I hear the question. I say the answer. The teacher gives me homework. I go home. I do my homework. Do you notice anything about the yellow words? How many yellow words can you count? What kind of words are they? They're all verbs. There are 11 yellow verbs in our story. And the story is made up using the 11 irregular verbs in Irish. Now here's our story in Irish. Déanann mé mo bhric fásta gach lá. Faigheann mé mo bhála gach lá. Téann mé ar scoil gach lá. Feiceann mé mo chairde ar scoil gach lá. Berann mé an líaróid ar an plós gach lá. Tá ocras orm gach lá. Ihan mé mo lón gach lá. Plushan mé an ceist gach lá. Deran mé an ragara gach lá. Tugan an múntóir oberwalja dom gach lá. Tagan mé a walja gach lá. Déanann mé moberwalja gach lá. Now, why should I learn these 12 sentences? I think it would be a really good idea to learn these 12 sentences, because if you know these 12 sentences from this story, you will know the root of the 12 trickiest verbs in Irish. You will also be able to, by making slight changes, you can make up a completely different story using these same 11 verbs. Also, you will find it much easier to learn how to change this story from the present tense into the past tense and into the future tense just by changing one word in each sentence. And that word would be the verb. Now, assignment. Homework time. Don't worry, it's not too difficult. For the Irish, I'd like you to try to learn the 12 sentences from our story in Irish. Take your time, there's no rush with this. We have plenty of time to learn these 12 sentences. Learn 1 or 2 a night if you can. If you can learn more, wonderful. If you can learn only 1 a night, try to do that. If you can learn the full sentence, that's wonderful. If you can't, don't worry about it. The really important thing to learn is the verb. So find the verb in each of those sentences and try to learn what that verb is and what it means. There's no deadline for this homework. You can take as long as you like. For our English homework on verbs, I'd like you to pay attention to yourself as you're going around your day. Try to count how many different verbs you speak. Make a list of the different verbs you use in 1 or 2 activities. For example, when you're making breakfast in the morning, how many verbs do you use when you're talking to your mum or your dad or your brother or your sister? When you're playing a game with your friends, if you're playing Roblox or Minecraft or Snap or Monopoly, how many verbs do you use when you're playing it? Try to pay attention to what tenses you use these verbs in. Are you talking in the past or in the present or in the future? Try to see if you can change some of these verbs into a different tense if you can. Remember, try to make it fun. I hope you found this video helpful. All the best, and I will see you in the next one. Slán!